Chapter 52-42. He was the weakest of the previous 5 Dao Jun, but at this time he made such a decision, and Dao Jun's face was torn to heaven and lost. The previous 2 times were completely due to the power of his extreme Dao, and his body's strength was almost endless. If it were an ordinary Daoist, I am afraid that he would not waste his strength in this way. In the third wave of 10,000 swallowing Demon Lord, Jian Wushuang was somewhat powerless. Either he used Yin-Yang Universe to kill all of them as before, or he could only end up fighting. The third wave has a total of 100,000 treasure points. He is still not focusing on his eyesight, mainly for the position of coach. The more you get to the later stage, the more treasure points you get. If you have the position of the coach, 1 million treasure points will be 5 million. This is an extra 500,000. The eternal treasure of the placement version, but only 1 million treasure points. In the first 3 waves, there were a total of 111,000 treasure points. With his strength, not to mention the clearance, he really hopes to reach the million treasure points by virtue of his position as coach. At that time, the imitation eternal treasure can be exchanged. Although he majored in swordsmanship, he has the blessings of the ultimate Taoism, and he can build another Taoism to match the 8-Fang Yunlong seal. He doesn't know how strong the eternal treasure is, but he only needs to understand that the entire primitive universe is now a real eternal treasure. This kind of treasure is too rare. To obtain it, not only strength but also luck is needed. Only the air transporter can obtain the eternal treasure in the long river of time and space. Emperor Zhutian is the kind of grandeur, an ancient relic suddenly appeared in front of him, allowing him to receive several eternal treasures. This incident, once the ups and downs spread in the long river of time and space, has set off a wave of fanatical time and space drifting, and even the business of the time went out and drifted for several epochs. Visible the attraction of the eternal treasure. The current Jian Wushuang is not even the half-step emperor. If he can obtain this eternal treasure, he will be able to have the half-step emperor's combat power in the 9th rank realm, which may be comparable to the 9th rank. This is much stronger than those inheritances, and it can also practice another powerful genius. Jian Wushuang couldn't imagine how strong he would be by then. 9 turns are comparable to the emperor. Wouldn't even the emperor be able to kill even the emperor at the 9th round of consummation? I am afraid that what Chishan Temple wants is this kind of heaven-defying Dian Immortal. Only when this kind of Dian-Xian combination is successful, can it help the Temple of Chishan. Jian Wushuang took a deep breath. For the eternal treasure, he decided to fight. Just after the horn sounded, Jian Wushuang followed the crowd to rush out, but his figure flashed, and he did not go to the ground when he was in the air. The whole body is trembling with thought power, and the strongest whole card is also his biggest battle now. One thought of the universe. Jian Wushuang's brows trembled. Get up. Under the control of the immense power of thought, a miniature universe appeared outside Qiuhuang's city. No way. At this moment everyone took a breath. They didn't expect that Jian Wushuang actually had a backhand, and he was thinking of swallowing the Demon Lord of 10 million this time. How crazy is this? If it was the power of the Daoist the first time, then the second time they guessed that Jian Wushuang concealed his strength, or had special means, the origin Dao was strong enough to kill a million devouring Demon Lord at one time. But this time it was 10 million. Even the Daoist swordsman felt crazy, thinking Jian Wushuang was desperate. Even if it is desperate, it is impossible to kill 10,000 devouring Demon Lord in one fell swoop. But the next scene made all of them tremble. A sword formation condensed with evil aura appeared in the sky. They are very familiar with this breath. It is the breath exuding in the dark, very similar, but it is slightly different. Absolute immortal formation. The eye of the beast god. Not only did the absolute immortal formation be pulled out, but even the eyes of the beast gods were not let go, and everything turned to the extreme. There is still a majestic and powerful world under the Juxian array, which is the heart sword world. All domains are all superimposed together, and now Jian Wushuang's aura rushes into the sky. Although he is not a half-step emperor, he also has some strength. Kill. Jian Wushuang killed the word as soon as he said it. 18 phantom swords formed a large array that swept the entire land. The original star continent, which was extremely hard, was cut into a tiankang of thousands of miles. Each phantom sword has the size of tens of thousands of battles. Among the army of thousands of devouring demons, 18 phantom swords cooperate with each other to give out absolute suppressing force. No one dared to approach, even the Daoist sundering heaven could only stand on the periphery with gritted teeth. Just watching, just 2 breaths, the 10,000 devouring demon lord was all beheaded by Jian Wushuang. What kind of strength is this? Someone looked at the sword formation blankly and asked tremblingly. 100,000 Dian Immortal didn't say a word at this time, just staring at the absolute immortal formation in a daze. In the end, I didn't know who spoke and said something. This is the Emperor. After all the devouring demon lords were beheaded, Jian Wushuang hurriedly put away the sword formation, the whole person's breath trembled, and it fell to the freezing point. 2 short breaths drained the strength of his whole body. It's important to know that the reserves of the ultimate origin Dao alone are comparable to the Emperor. The Jian Wushuang Polar Dao's reserves are even more amazing, hundreds of times more than the ultimate origin Dao. His body, the Yanli reserve, has exceeded the weak Emperor and can be compared to the second-order Emperor. With such a huge power, he actually consumed 2 breaths cleanly. He himself felt incredible. The phantom sword was originally only an inch long, but it was raised to the size of 10,000 battles by him. After the phantom sword, which was originally extremely expensive, expanded 1,000,000 times, it could be imagined how huge it would consume. Call. Breath out this breath, swallow the devil and perish. He also exposed his full strength, and the consumption this time was too exaggerated. Even if he recovered, it would take time. Fortunately, in every 3 stages, there will be a whole day interval. Jian Wushuang's aura was a bit unstable, and he couldn't manage that much. He hurriedly put away all the methods, and the figure almost fell on the top of the city. Thousands of devouring the devil, and all being swallowed by him, can also be regarded as suppressing the evil arrogance in his heart. It's half full. Once his appetite is opened, he will be even crazier next time. Jian Wushuang's eyes were cold. He tried his best to restrain himself, exchanged several pills for restoring Yanli, and swallowed them in one mouthful. Turn the power emanating from the pill to quickly restore one's own strength. 100,000 Dian Immortals outside the city. I don't know whether to return or not at this time. The accumulated fighting spirit has been hit again and again, and now it has completely collapsed. Either go back and retire, or just guard outside the darkness. No matter how powerful the devouring demon lord is, they will go. They were already scared, afraid that Jian Wushuang would kill all devouring monarchs again. Moreover, the aura emitted by Jian Wushuang's sword formation just now was too similar to those demon monarchs, which had to make them think of a horrible secret in the primitive universe. Swallow. Taboo. Demon Lord. Chapter 52-43. At that time, you can also break through rank 9 and become the perfect powerhouse of rank 9. At that time, his strength is estimated to be much stronger than the average half-step emperor. Interesting. Jian Wushuang's eyes beamed. As if seeing Jian Wushuang's thoughts, Ji Chaoyang was not bothering, so he pulled Huiqing back to Beicheng, and the 2 of them were assigned to a city wall, but they had mutual support. Insert an app. Perfectly reproduce the old version of the book-chasing artifact, an interchangeable app Mimi reading. Saying goodbye to the 2 men, Jian Wushuang, stepping on the Heiyao stone slab and walking into a palace. The city lord's mansion is divided into 4 halls. The treasure hall is just one of them. There are a lot of treasures stored here, all of which are extremely useful to Dian Immortal. Entering the hall, there was a change. There were several Dian Immortals passing by just now, but after entering the interior, no one could be seen. Jian Wushuang guessed in his mind that he should have entered the space mezzanine, and this treasure hall was opened up with countless mezzanine levels. It is impossible to meet other people at all, and everyone enters a unique mezzanine. Jian Wushuang had seen this method, and only when the origin of the space reached a very high level could he create such a strange palace. After entering the hall, look around. The hall was empty, and it didn't look like there were treasures. In the main hall, there is only a green bottle, and nothing else. Jian Wushuang just took a step, and a burst of cyan smoke appeared in the green vial in front of him. The fist-sized bottle eventually emitted several battles of blue smoke, and finally turned into a scaled monster, but looking at its face, Jen Wushuang could see that the opponent was very old. There are several gullies on the face, and the scales on the neck are a little off. Thanks Tusk, young man, I can sense that there are so many treasures in you. Jen Wushuang didn't dare to be careless, clasped his fist and said, Senior, Junior Jen Wushuang, the trial of the God of Fortune, come to exchange the treasure. Jen Wushuang didn't dare to underestimate this old monster who didn't know how many years he had lived. Don't worry, take your time, no one has spoken to the old man for a long time, and I will tell you what treasure you want to change. I will also check it for you. The scaly old man was very easy to talk, and looked like a naughty child, which made Jen Wushuang relax. Come down. I don't know the name of the predecessor, Jen Wushuang said with a smile, leaking joy. You can call me Qiu Huang. When the scaly man said that he was famous, his voice became extremely majestic. After Jen Wushuang heard this name, he was also excited. Qiu Huang? Qiu Huang Cheng? Is this old guy the master of Qiu Huang Cheng? Little guy, don't be afraid. The city of Qiu Huang you are in used to belong to me. The sword has no muscle tremor on both sides. Come on, let me see your origin, this seat will list you more suitable treasures. Qiu Huang said as he drifted over. Can't let him see. Jen Wushuang instinctively backed away to avoid him, but he still let Qiu Huang smell his original power. Qiu Huang, who had just approached Jen Wushuang, was taken aback first, then shock. In the end, his body trembled so badly, his figure dodged behind the throne for an instant, only one head leaked out, his eyes fixed on Jen Wushuang, and he said in horror, Who are you? You have that fellow's breath like this. It was still seen, Jen Wushuang was not hiding it, so he dragged it out. He had just learned that the other party was Qiu Huang's identity, and his secret path was not good. Now, in his kendo origin, there is the origin of the sword who destroyed Qiu Huang city. Fortunately, he kept explaining that Qiu Huang trembled out of behind the throne, but there was still a look of fear in his eyes. I can imagine how much he was afraid of that person back then. In fact, I and him already belong to the same camp, and I am not afraid of him. Qiu Huang clenched his fist and covered his mouth and coughed twice before remembering that this was the alien universe, and there was nothing to be afraid of. Senior, I don't know if it was. Jen Wushuang deliberately said that there are indeed many secrets in the world of the Temple of Chishan. If you can learn some, you will be prepared in the future. Qiu Huang looked straight and waved his hand quickly. Young man, Zhi confessed that I can't tell you about the Temple of Chishan, you should try it honestly. When you leave the primitive world, you will be told what you should know. Jen Wushuang didn't expect the other party's mouth to be so strict, and he didn't want to say anything, but he still knew a person's name from his words. Zhu Yi. There is also the primitive world. The world of Primordial Star was originally called Primordial Realm, and Jen Wushuang nodded secretly. The predecessor thinks that the treasure points in the hands of the juniors are more worthwhile to exchange for those treasures. Jen Wushuang didn't ask more, and went straight to the subject. Qiu Huang turned around and sat cross-legged on the throne, stroking his beard with one hand and waving the other. There were countless treasures all over the hall. You are the ultimate kendo. It seems that your Dao should only be around the 6th level, and your realm is only the 9th rank Dian Immortal, but the origin in your body is extremely powerful, which is a bit strange. Qiu Huang wondered. Jen Wushuang took a sigh of relief. It seems that the opponent is not strong enough to see through his body. At least the Jidao opponent didn't see it. He didn't know that Jidao was the original Dao with no action, let alone Qiu Huang. Even if the true spirit was lying on his body to see it, he couldn't see it. Although he didn't know Qiu Huang's past, Jen Wushuang could also tell that Qiu Huang was at least a 5th-order emperor, otherwise he would not be able to build a city of this level. This is much stronger than the heavenly court of Zhenwuyang. At least he has never seen such a luxurious city in Darciu, completely made of Hei Yaosha. The whole body is a treasure, combined, this is a broken eternal treasure. Qiu Huang frowned, and then said, The enlightenment flower is indeed suitable for you, but the ultimate source needs not only enlightenment, but also the tempering of life and death. Hearing this comment, Jian Wushuang nodded in agreement. He was indeed able to break through so quickly in the trials of life and death. Since entering the great wilderness, he has been walking around the tip of the knife every time, and Yangxian has resisted the ninth rank Dianxian. After he broke through the 3rd rank Dian Immortal, he met the 9th rank Perfect Dian Immortal. Every time it was the suppression of absolute strength, he couldn't breathe at all. After entering the Temple of Chishan, it was a little better. At rank 6 Dian Immortal, he will behead the ultimate Dian Immortal, singing all the way, and attacking the powerhouse of rank 9 Battle Dao Monarch. Now that he hasn't had that kind of tempering between life and death, he has indeed slowed down. Your origin is strong, but there are some other places that can't keep up with your origin, such as the divine body and soul realm, but the mental strength is particularly reluctant to keep up with your origin. Qiu Huang commented on Jian Wushuang's strength one by one. Pointing out Jian Wushuang's shortcomings, Jian Wushuang didn't find these things himself. Especially the divine body, 1,000 times the basic divine body is strong enough in his opinion. Chapter 52-44. With the blessing of the eye of the beast god, it can be comparable to a special life. Qiu Huang seemed to see his doubts, and said in an educated voice, "Little guy, don't be convinced. I know that you have a special secret treasure that can increase the divine body, but don't forget, you are the 9th rank. When you reach consummation on the 9th revolution, and even the ultimate way of cultivating to consummation, the effect of the secret treasure at that time is much smaller. The most important thing for the divine body is the foundation. The stronger the foundation, the stronger your divine body will become more tenacious. In our era, the requirements for the divine body are much higher than you are now." Qiu Huang looked back on the ancient times, his tone also changed yearning, and said tremblingly, "In the ancient times, your strength is considered superior, far from being a peerless, only the peerless Tianjiao who is barely counted by the origin Dao, and the others. The difference is far, at least in the current era." His words are not exaggerated. The glory of the ancient times is indeed a great era. At that time there was still an overlord in the starry sky, but now the starry sky is desolate. There are not even a few masters of the universe. Especially in the long river of time and space where the original universe is located, the strong are almost dying. Jian Wushuang heard that he couldn't compare to the Tianjiao of today's age, and his expression was a bit solemn. Isn't the strongest emperor in Dian Immortal half-step emperor? After breaking through rank 9, he still has another leap in strength, which can be comparable to the emperor. Isn't this a peerless? Senior, can other primitive stars have Dian Immortal who is more against the sky? Jian Wushuang asked. Yes, your primitive star has 3 high-level trialists who are no less than yours. You must know that their chances are also very good, especially the little monk. Look at the cause and effect on your body. I should know him, Qiu Huang said slowly. Little monk. It's Hai Qing. Jian Wushuang nodded. Hui Qing's chance was indeed extraordinary, and could be taken care of by Chishan Temple. The entire primordial realm Dian Immortal was the only one. His chances are very unusual, at least I can't see where the inheritance from him comes from. Maybe some big man has taken a fancy to his potential and bestowed it in advance. Big shot. Jian Wushuang was shocked. Could it be that in this temple of forbidden god? Boy, don't think about it, this temple of the gods is more powerful than you think. Qiu Huang said proudly. Haha, it's a bit farther to say it, let's talk about yourself. That little monk has a strong inheritance, and his path is almost fixed. You are different from him. At least you haven't practiced inheritance yet, and now you need what you need most. It is still to grind the foundation and prepare for the future inheritance, and then it is the harmony. Speaking of this, Qiu Huang couldn't help but mention Ji Chaoyang, and Jian Wushuang knew the other side's road to the strong, which was the road to the strong that best met the Chishan Temple's plan for Dian. The Wanqing Heavenly Emperor was originally an emperor, and he had cultivated a powerful genius to gain half a step of the emperor's strength, which is not worth mentioning on Qiu Huang's side. That said, he can only be ranked 3rd in this original star. Not even as good as Ji Chaoyang. Although Qiu Huang said that, it was him who didn't listen. He really didn't believe it. By virtue of the one origin of the great Tao, It was many times stronger than the ultimate. Wait, sooner or later, I will surpass everyone. The seed of the strong has already been planted. Jian Wushuang's determination cannot be changed. No one can stand in front of him. He used to be a strong Taoist, but now he doesn't care about it. Half-step Emperor is also at your fingertips. Qiu Huang didn't say much. He directly proposed several treasures and asked Jian Wushuang to choose them one by one. These treasures, worth 100,000 treasures, are the most suitable treasures for you. Qiu Huang introduced while talking. There are 3 categories. The treasure to enhance the soul, this is what you need most now. The stronger the soul realm, the faster you can advance to the 9th turn consummation. This underworld stone is most suitable for you. The soul power on it is very sufficient. Your soul is strong, and you can only absorb one in your life, 50,000 points, absolutely no loss. Jian Wushuang's heartbeat was indeed what Qiu Huang said. Breaking through the rank of 9 helped him more than breaking through the ultimate kendo, which is indeed what he needs most today. But just after breaking through the 9th revolution, he had no brows for consummation, and no confidence in his heart. Yes, I have exchanged this underworld stone. Jian Wushuang took out the token and handed it to Qiu Huang. Qiu Huang took the token, saw the treasure point above, smiled and nodded. That's a lot. The second category is the divine body. The treasures worth 30,000 points of treasure here are to enhance the divine body, which can make your divine body break through to 1,800 times. Jian Wushuang was overjoyed in his heart. The improvement of the soul realm would not be realized into combat power for a while, but the improvement of the divine body was a real jump in combat power. 1,800 times the basic divine body, combined with the eye of the beast god, can almost reach 8,000 times. The stronger the divine body, the higher the multiplier will decrease if you want to break through 10,000 times. I am afraid that the basic divine body needs to be 5,000 times. The more difficult it is to upgrade later, and the more precious points it spends, Jian Wushuang suddenly feels a lot of pressure. The 110,000 precious points have already been spent 80,000, and the strength has only increased so much. The third category is your origin Dao. Since you insist on improving, I recommend you to exchange it. Origin fruit is much stronger than the enlightenment flower, and it is more natural. It can instantly increase your origin Dao, and the price is also 3. One's Hebao point. There are a total of 110,000 treasure points, no points left. Jian Wushuang's heart is dripping blood, but Qiu Huang is indeed correct. These treasures are indeed what he needs, so he exchanged all of them with his teeth. Now, these are all yours. They are all treasures that can be upgraded in an instant. You don't need to spend the most precious point to go to the time chamber. Jian Wushuang was speechless, and the time secret chamber spent only a few precious points, and now with a wave of his hand, he spent 110,000 precious points in Qiu Huang. I am afraid that there are not many people in the primitive world who have his mastery. By the way, I think you are very interested in space. I still have a unique space treasure that needs 500,000 points. If you want to, you have to work harder. Qiu Huang suddenly appeared in his hands. The light blue crystal on one side exudes the breath of endless space. After Jian Wushuang felt this power, his mind moved, and he immediately felt that the treasures in his hand were useless, and all of them were not as good as the square crystal. His biggest reliance is that the space origin of one thought of the universe is too useful for him. In Dian Immortal, there are not many who can touch the threshold of the origin of the space, and he can't do it if he wants to swallow it. Only when the Emperor of the Great Desolation fell, he swallowed a lot of the origin of the space and allowed his universe to reach a range of tens of thousands of miles. Chapter 52-45. Now, although his strength has broken through one after another, the scope of the universe has not expanded because of the stagnant origin of his space. He could feel that if he swallowed that square crystal, his thought universe would be able to break through. But 500,000 treasure points are not a small number. At least for the first 9 waves, he could barely make up enough with every effort. In the next few waves, he will not be able to kill all of them, but fortunately, he has the position of coach, which can increase by 50%. It's not difficult to reach 500,000 treasure points. I was afraid that this square crystal would be exchanged in advance. This old guy didn't tell me earlier. He had known that he would not exchange these things, so he would make up the 500,000 most precious points first. Jian Wushuang finally walked out of the palace with a black face. Although the contact didn't last long, he could also see that the old man probably recommended the square crystal to others, and now he has become more competitive. At least the Taoist-level powerhouses of the other 3 city walls are likely to compete with him. Universe Rubik's Cube. Jian Wushuang gritted his teeth. Qiu Huang told him that this square crystal was cut out of a space and universe, and it was the size of a small world. The name is also very exaggerated, called the Cosmos Rubik's Cube. After leaving the palace, there is still a lot of time. He is not in a hurry to use those treasures now, anyway. They are all treasures that are quickly upgraded, and in the end there is no need to worry. He went to the other 3 halls one by one. After walking around, Jian Wushuang scolded Qiu Huang in his heart. The other 3 halls are the halls of exchange pill, treasure, and inheritance. The inheritance hall still needs it. Those inheritance Jian Wushuang have known for a long time that they didn't intend to exchange it. Although there are also many treasures in the alchemy hall that he needs, but the promotion is limited, similar to the exchange in the treasure hall, he also didn't think much. But in the palace of the supreme treasures, there was a treasure that made him unable to observe. In the identity token, only the name can be seen, and the power of the treasure cannot be seen at all. Now, after seeing it with his own eyes, he discovered that a special secret treasure was actually an accessory for the eye of the beast god. The old man in charge of the treasure exchange also told him that this was one of the beast weapons. It was a treasure of wings, with a pair of silver scarlet wings, lifelike. The breath exuding from above is the same as the eye of the beast god. This reminded him of Tao's sovereign tear heaven. This man also had a treasure similar to the breath of his beast god's eye. Thinking of this, Jian Wushuang's eyes shrank. The other party must also know this winged treasure. Beast god soldier. Jian Wushuang said silently in his heart. There were a total of 9 pieces of this treasure in ancient times, and 6 of them were in the hands of the strong on top of the universe. The other 3 are in the hands of the emperor who has taken the 6th step. The 6th step, the emperor? That is, the 6th order emperor of the original universe. Although the names are different, they have roughly the same meaning. Jian Wushuang just thinks about it and feels outrageous. The most precious treasure used by the 6th order emperor, and it is not an ordinary 6th order emperor. That is the direct disciple of Chishan, the 6th order emperor of the ultimate way. The powerhouses on the top of the universe are very eager to get beast warriors. There are a lot of other treasures, but the beast warrior only has 9 in the entire starry sky. Because in ancient times, 9 great beast gods were born, and all of them were killed by the gods, and finally 9 great beast gods were refined. According to the old man of the Supreme Treasure Hall, his beast god's eyes are the eyes of one of the 9 beast gods, Candle Dragon. The pair of supreme wings were also the wings of the Candle Dragon. Although incomplete, the power of the eye of a beast made the 3rd order emperor crazy. If he gets the pair of wings again, the combination of the 2 will probably surpass the limit of the innate treasure. It is completely comparable to the imitation of the eternal treasure 8 Fang Yunlong seal. This beast soldier is called Candle Dragon. It was also named after the beast Candle Dragon. The strong man who used this treasure back then was a super strong man who made the universe tremble. When it finally fell, the Candle Dragon was also divided into several pieces and left in various places in the starry sky. This was also Jian Wushuang's good luck. First he got the eye of the beast from the Emperor Morlong, and now he encountered the wings of the beast god, and the one in the hands of the tearing sky. According to his guess, it should be the claw of the Candle Dragon. Torn the sky. He is a strong man with claws together, the claws of the Candle Dragon. 8 achievements are in his hands. Now Jian Wushuang has secretly decided. The first goal is to exchange Candle Dragon wings, and the second goal is to win the tearing sky. There is no way to deal with him now. There are plenty of opportunities later. If it hadn't been for tearing the sky to stare at him with a longing look, he really hadn't paid attention. The Candle Dragon's wings are 800,000 treasures. But its power only improves part of the space origin, and also has a very large speed increase, and its defensive power is also outrageous. There are probably not many people who can keep an eye on this treasure. There are so many treasures, it is better to exchange for the complete 8-fang Yunlong seal. That treasure is much stronger than the candle dragon wings. All aspects are crushed. However, Jian Wushuang has the eyes of the candle dragon. After the combination of the two, it is much stronger than the Bafang Yunlong seal. After a sigh of relief, after adjusting his mentality, Jian Wushuang walked out. The city lord's mansion. When he returned to the city wall again, he would look at Dao Shou-Tian from time to time. Dao Shou-Tian, who had already distanced himself from Jian Wushuang, felt a chill in his heart. He has also been to the palace of the supreme treasures, and the matter of the beast god soldier has long been known, and now that Jian Wushuang has been staring at him, he must have been to the palace of the supremes too. After all, I still can't hide, but I won't give up. The Taoist Tear Heaven decided secretly. He was more calm than Jian Wushuang, strolling around the 4 great halls without redeeming anything, just glance at the treasures he needed. Feeling the pair of candle dragon wings accidentally made him overjoyed. But then thinking of the breath on Jian Wushuang's body, he was silent again. Ranked 4th, he only got 20,000 supreme points, which was far from 800,000. Jian Wushuang already had more than 100,000 supreme points. Want to compete for difficult. But the temptation of that treasure to him was stronger than Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang is today because of the powerhouses of the extreme Dao and the ultimate Dao. The eye of the beast god is nothing but a foreign object. Compared with these, it is the right way to be strong. The Taoist Tear Heaven is different. If he doesn't have the treasure in his body, he is nothing but an ordinary peak Da Yang. The origin Dao is still very weak, and it can't be ranked in the 2nd grade origin. Therefore, his desire for beast soldiers is even greater. The birth of the Temple of Chishan made it possible to understand that He Dao is no longer a dream, and may become a reality. Now that he entered the Temple of Chishan, after a fight, he found his shortcomings. https://1 second to remember Aishang Novel Network. Mobile version reading URL. Chapter 52-46. He also knows his mind and strength. If he wants to obtain the top inheritance in the Temple of Chishan, and if he wants to succeed in harmony, he must become stronger so that the Temple of the Chishan can see his potential. Now there is one in front of him, which has obtained the remaining accessories of the beasts. Now he exploded with all his strength, and he was still at the top of the Taoist monarchs. But in the future, compared with those half-step emperors, he is much worse. He needs to be stronger. The road to harmony is right in front of him, and he has no reason to give up. Is it because his opponent is stronger than him, so he gives up? That was ridiculous. Even though he was shameless, he was not top in the same rank before, but since he got the secret treasure, he has a seed of the strong in his heart. He wants to see more than anyone else, that seed blossoms and bears fruit. Not to mention the half-step emperor, even if Jian Wushuang is the emperor, he has to bite the bullet and fight for it. Moreover, Jian Wushuang felt he hadn't reached that point now, half a step where the emperor was suspended. Although those areas were powerful, he could also see that Jian Wushuang should be the ultimate way, and the strength of his body would be so strong. The strength of the two should not be much different, and the subsequent competition may not necessarily lose. As for the treasure that Jian Wushuang stared at him, he sneered. Even if it is impossible to compete, candle dragon wings, he will not give away his treasure. At least the current rules are forbidden to kill each other. He is not afraid of Jian Wushuang at all. Even if there is another fight in the future, he still hopes to survive in Jian Wushuang's hands. Can't beat, can't hide. The secret treasure is his life. With it, he has today. He is used to being looked up to. Look up to others again. Might as well let him die. Jian Wushuang glanced through, saw the determination to tear the sky, couldn't help but sneered. Then give it a try, 800,000 treasure points, he has 90% hope of getting it in advance, and he has the position of coach, so tearing the sky can't compete with him. No one else can compete with him except Wanxing. The Tao of Huiking's major also runs counter to the beasts and gods, and should not be exchanged. His most powerful opponent is not tearing the sky, But Wanxing, Shueyue and Lungshuang Daojun are equal in strength and can't compare to him at all. He didn't know much about Wanxing, and he was really afraid that Wanxing would exchange for that treasure. One day passed quickly, and the 4 major city walls, except for the eastern city wall where Jian Wushuang was located, the Dayan Immortal on the other city walls had increased a lot of strength. East City Coach Jian Wushuang. Commander, Tearing the Sky, Nantong, Jiyu Chao. General, Moran. 16 positions were announced soon. People who thought they had no record except Jian Wushuang, but also thought of getting a position by luck, were discouraged. It seems not as naive as they thought. Everything still speaks for strength. This also let those powerful Dayanxians breathe a sigh of relief. As a powerful Taoist ruler, Tearing the Sky was ruled, and naturally no one was unconvinced. However, of the 5.5 trail monarchs here, 4 are commanders, and 1 is unluckily assigned to the position of general. This makes him extremely hate Jian Wushuang, but he dare not show it. His method is very beneficial to the weak, at least a bit stronger than the half-walking monarchs, and now he is squeezed out of the commanding position. Hate it. Someone hates it, others like it. I think this distribution is simply too fair. You have to thank Master Jian Wushuang, otherwise the position of commander will be taken up by some xiao xiao. The speaker was burly, and he hugged Jian Wushuang with his fists, his voice deliberately raised. 1 is for the disgusting half-walking monarch who was squeezed out of command, and the other is to please Jian Wushuang by the way. Strong strength will naturally be respected by others. At the same time, Mo Long was also very pleased. With the treasure suit, he is also the ultimate fairy. In addition to Jian Wushuang and Tear Heaven, the battle power on the city wall now has 5.5 trails and more than 30 limit Dayan Immortals. Among more than 30 people, Mo Long's strength is still not in the top 10. But his foundation is very strong, and all strengths are divided according to the foundation. Mo Long's physical body is consummated. This is not something that Dao Jun can do casually. Either there are not so many treasures to pile the physical body, or there is not so much energy to practice. After all, the physical body is no more than the mortal body, and many strong people are more about improving the divine body. The flesh does not practice much. Mo Long didn't think the flies were too small, but he improved them one by one. If the physical body is raised to the point of immortality, then it's another matter. Just like Mo Long, he was almost immortal in the same rank. The physical body is eternal and immortal, and it is also regarded as basic strength. If you count his once treasures, his strength is comparable to that of the half-travel monarch. After the positions were assigned, the city lord's mansion issued a golden arrow to the sky. The darkness was turbulent, countless powerful devouring demon lords were already unable to hold back, their hideous fangs lowered their lower lip, their eyes were red, and blood suddenly appeared. They were suppressed in the primordial star for a few years, but now they were released again, staring at the practitioner again, the breath made them crazy and fascinated. Jian Wushuang, who was sitting firmly on the head of the city, looked at the turbulent darkness with the same eyes. His breath is very similar to those demon kings, but the color is pitch black. Swallow. The earth began to tremble at this moment. The buzzing of horns sounded, and a big burst was triggered. Kill. At this moment, regardless of whether there is a position or a weak person, it explodes at this moment. The turmoil in the dark, the madness that swallowed the devil, the desperateness of the practitioner. The scenes of this scene seem to have happened in ancient times. 199 revolutions swallowed the devil perfectly, shaking his head and rushing out of the darkness. This momentum can shake the world and is far from comparable to that of 10,009 ranks. The gap between rank 9 and consummation cannot be offset by 100 times the number. According to the rules, the devouring demon lord who is comparable to rank 9 Dayan Immortal is 1 star, and now those who are comparable to rank 9 are 2 stars. The classification of grades is similar to that of Dayanxian. 9 turn 1 star, perfect 2 star, top 3 star, pinnacle 4 star, extreme 5 star, Taoist 6 star, half-step emperor 7 star, comparable to emperor 8 star. Although these devouring demon lords are not as powerful as practitioners of the same level, their strength is genuine, and what they lack is the use of supreme treasures or the peculiar knowledge of cultivation. This collision was extremely intense. The forbearance of the first 3 waves was all played out during the attack of the devouring demon lord. Even part of rank 9 Dian immortals struggled to fight, and 3 or 5 people besieged a 2-star demon king, and the world collapsed and the earth cracked. 2-star devouring demon lord is just comparable to 9-ranking demon lord. Among 100,000 Dian immortals, now as long as Nineth range consummation has the power of top-level Dian immortal, you can slaughter those 2-star devouring demon lord at will. When the numbers of the 2 parties are similar, the difference in quality is irreparable. Among the 100,000 Dian immortals, there are close to 90,000 top Dian immortals. Chapter 52-47. The individual combat power of the devouring demon lord is the same, and the practitioners here have extremely strong combat power, and there are many that can be comparable to the 6-star devouring demon lord. Even Mo Long could destroy hundreds of 2 stars and devour the devil by himself. The claw law of tearing the sky is even crazier, the huge blood claw tearing the sky. Thousands of devouring demons formations were instantly torn apart, turned into powder and completely wiped out. In just one breath, 100,000 2 stars swallowed the devil, and 10,000 fell. And Jian Wushuang just pulled out the long sword behind him. The sword light is fierce, and a sword is a world descending, and under the fusion of heart strength and sword intent, an unrivaled aura erupts. Out! A sword light swept across the battlefield. This ray of sword light rushed into the formation of devouring demon arrogantly, disturbing everything, and the fierce sword intent destroyed the body of devouring demon. Boom! People are not yet in shape, sword intent is full of sky. When many practitioners saw Jian Wushuang enter the arena, they became even more crazy. They were really afraid that Jian Wushuang would be ruthless and kill them all again, leaving them nothing. Quick! Get started quickly. Some 9th rank Dian immortal teams couldn't help roaring. They resisted the 4th wave of offense at most, and the 5th wave was the 1 million 2 stars devouring demon lord, and it would be difficult for them to think so easily at that time. Either the 4th wave is desperate and the 5th wave is retired. If they don't fight in the 4th wave, they will not be able to resist the 5th wave of attack. Million is more than 10 times the current pressure. Feeling the soaring sword intent, the dignified face of the prince to tear the heavens. 100,000 2 stars swallowed the demon lord but only took 3 breaths, and all fell. The mutilated devouring demon lord fell from the sky one after another, but before it fell to the ground, it turned into strands of black smoke, hovering in the sky, and was eventually absorbed by Jian Wushuang. Jian Wushuang put away the long sword, slowly closed his eyes, opened his hands, and enjoyed the feast to the fullest. These devourers wanted to devour them, while Jian Wushuang wanted to devour each other. Jie Jie. Jian Wushuang opened his eyes, looked into the darkness, staring into the dark fog, the evil aura in his eyes became more intense. Since he started to devour these demon kings, he found that the ability to devour them has become stronger, and the demand has also increased, but other aspects have not improved. Especially Jidao did not rise at all. This is the purest avenue of devouring. Jian Wushuang put aside his aura, he realized at this time that the 2 sides are fundamentally different. His extreme way encompasses all things, and the origin of swallowing the devil's body is the purest swallowing. The difference between the 2 is very large. The so-called Tao begets 1, 2 lives 3, and 3 lives all things. The extreme way encompasses all things, this is the purest way, and the other ways are nothing more than trails derived from them. All things are the origin of the Tao. Call. Returning to the city, Jian Wushuang began to comprehend Jidao. Everything. Jian Wushuang frowned, his face leaking doubts. If all things are the purest and include so many Taoisms, what shall we do in the future? This is a huge problem. In the ultimate kendo, he can still point to his heart, and the path of harmony may also have a rudimentary shape, but he has no clue at all. Now if you have a little eyebrow, you will be more enlightened and don't miss any chance. Especially swallowing, if everything depends on him to enlighten, he will not be able to enlighten to consummation if the universe is destroyed. Only by constantly devouring other practitioners can he quickly ascend. This time swallowing these demon kings, His receipt is very large, at least his understanding of everything is more than just paper. He could feel Tao because of the devouring of these demon kings. If he swallowed those Dian immortals again, a complete Tao, he could consume 30%. It's a bit stronger than before, which is a big gain. It's a pity that Dian Xian didn't give him an experiment, and now he can't do anything with other people. After the fifth wave of siege, Jian Wushuang still rushed to the forefront, and now his demand for the most precious points is really a bit big. Fortunately, the strength of Yin-Yang universe kept his record in the first place. When this stage is settled, there will be a lot of ranking rewards. Naturally, he can't let it go. Last time I suffered a big loss. Hua Qing ranked first, but she won 100,000 points. In the second stage of the trial, the treasures and the most precious points were increased several times. Especially the exchange within the City Lord's mansion was opened, which was much fiercer than the first stage of the battle. Although there are not many casualties yet, the more this cycle progresses, the more people can't stop. In the fifth wave, the 1,000,000 2-stars devouring demon lord attacked. The 9th rank Dian immortals who were going to retire originally, after obtaining the Arcana point, immediately exchanged for a set of Supreme Arcana armor and some enhanced Arcana, ready to fight again. There are even some people who broke through in the battle, and they had just reached the 9th round of consummation, and they had top-level combat power, and they were even more frantic when fighting. After the fifth wave, the overall strength has once again improved a lot. Jian Wushuang saw the meaning of training soldiers with his more and more courageous posture. More than 10,000 rank 9 Dian immortal, now half of them fell, but the remaining half didn't mean to stop in the slightest. The last wave, the sixth wave, is over. If I can get enough of the treasures of the Baye flower, I will be able to break through. A 9th rank Dian immortal, his eyes full of war. Retire if there is no breakthrough, and continue to fight if there is a breakthrough. Use war to support war, until death. Said to be retired, now only a few rank 9 Dian immortals who have no hope of breaking through have chosen to retire, and the rest, as long as they have a little hope of breaking through, or are stronger in strength, have chosen to continue fighting. In the 9th rank Dian immortal, there are indeed some people who have broken through the final Jihao through the tempering of life and death, and become the 9th rank perfection. Exchange for a set of peak Arcana set, and instantly have the top Dian immortal combat power. Among the 9 ranks consummation Dian immortal, the weakest is the rank 9 top level, who can kill the 2 stars at will to devour the devil. In the first 6 waves of battles, there was no threat, and even among them, there were examples of breakthroughs in the origin and becoming the peak powerhouse. At this time, everyone was most concerned about rather than the top combat power, they all began to stare at those top Dian immortals or rank 9 Dian immortals. It is even more exciting to see them break through and become stronger. At least this is true, looking up at Jian Wushuang and others, after all, is unrealistic. They spent 10 breaths in the 5th wave of battle, and now the 6th wave begins. Jian Wushuang could have a foreboding that if the 9th rank Dian immortal wasn't able to break through in the battle, then only death would be. Thousands of 2 stars devour the devil. Mo Long's peak strength had only dared to resist this wave, but those 9th rank Dian immortals were desperate struggles. This is the 10,000 devouring demon lord, each one is much stronger than them, they can only win by the number of people, but now the number of opponents is 100 times theirs. The exact calculation is 10,000 times. https://1 second to remember Aishang Novel Network. Mobile version reading URL. Chapter 5248. Now there are only a few thousand rank 9 Dian immortals and 1,000 2-star devouring demon lord, they can still bear it. But tens of millions of 2 stars devour the devil, how much can other strong people share for them? When 1,000,000 swallowed the devil, the 9th rank Dian immortal lost half, and this time I am afraid it will be extinct. It's a pity. Jian Wushuang sighed in a low voice. When the horn sounded again, his figure moved into the air outside the city. In the 3rd wave, the devouring demon lord with 1/10 of a star is 100,000 treasure point. Now the 6th wave is the 1,000,000 treasure point. Although it can't be monopolized, half of it can still be won. Now he has accumulated almost 100,000 again. If he can take half this time, including the bonus of the coach, he can almost exchange for candle dragon wings. This treasure has helped him too much. Let's not talk about the increase in speed and defense. The increase in the beast god domain alone can make him stronger. By then, I am afraid that he will really have the power of a half-step emperor. Up. The increase in the divine body, coupled with the powerful defensive power of the candle dragon's wings, is really going to fight the tens of thousands of stars he is also sure to fight. At that time, this primordial star, he can really walk sideways. At this moment, Jian Wushuang even had an evil idea: swallowing all the primordial star Dian Immortal, he could take another step. This idea just came out of my mind, and it was quickly rejected by him. Not to mention the feasibility of this method, let's talk about the trial of the original star. It is estimated that it will be difficult to fight around like the first stage. Now that the Temple of Chishan has opened its treasure trove, so many treasures have been invested in it, how can it be possible to make them like they used to be? It will not let him go and mess around. Jian Wushuang has always believed that there are still some strong men who have survived from ancient times in this Temple of Chishan, otherwise the internal world will not function in such an orderly manner. There are too many hidden secrets, and I'm afraid they will be able to understand the real Temple of Chishan after the original star. The horn hummed, echoing in everyone's ears. The sixth wave devours the devil. This is a hurdle, the hurdle of rank 9 Dian Immortal, and also the threshold of some top Dian Immortals. Because after this hurdle, the life of the top Dian Immortal will not be too easy, even the next few waves of the peak Dian Immortal will be difficult to sustain. At the beginning of the 7th wave, it was Samsung Devouring Demon Lord, the Devouring Demon Lord with top Dian Immortal combat power. At the beginning, it was also 100,000, until the next tens of millions. What kind of concept the tens of millions of top Dian Immortals are, the powerful Tao Sovereign may fall. But at that time was also the craziest time to earn the most precious points. Thousands of treasures. Any imitation of eternal treasures is not just exchangeable. Those treasures that are cherished can be exchanged. Can redeem half of the treasures in the treasure house. The physical body is immortal, the divine body is increased, and there are too many treasures from the source, and it is possible to reach the sky in one step. What a temptation this is! How can it not make people crazy? Thousands of devouring the Demon King, each towering and 10,000 battles, overwhelming the sky, covering the sky and obscuring the sun. The evil aura disturbed everyone's breath. Jian Wushuang stands tall in the void, and people are like sword shadows standing in this world. Looking back, 100,000 cultivators, no matter weak or strong, their faces were very solemn. Although 10 million, the luster in their eyes made Jian Wushuang understand what it meant to be unrepentant. Fight with war and never regret until death. Kill. I don't know who murmured, and slowly everyone shouted. In the end everyone roared even more, kill. The soaring killing intent was no weaker than 10,000 devouring demon lord. Lian Jian Wushuang yelled out, and the killing intent at this moment infected everyone. Boom. 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 Jian Wushuang rode as 1,000, and pulled out the divine sword behind him, breaking through 10,000 enemies with one sword, and rushing into the tens of millions of devouring demon kings. In addition to him, there is also the tearing sky, and those half-walking monarchs, extreme Dian Immortals, have also rushed into the devouring demon's army. 100,000 Dian Immortals lined up and ran into the devouring demon army in the form of a large formation. Life and death had already been put aside, and now they only had craziness in their eyes. Kai Kai. At the moment the two sides fought, countless devouring demon lords died, turning into pitch-black mist and floating between the heaven and the earth. In the early stage, everyone had plucked up their courage, but when they really collided, they didn't lose much, but they gradually couldn't stand it in the face of the continuous devouring demon lord. This is the 2-star devouring demon that is comparable to the 9th ranking consummation, and it is much stronger than the 1-star devouring demon. Dian Immortal's front line soon began to collapse. The first thing that couldn't stand it was the rank 6 to 9 Dian Immortal. Although they formed a battle formation, it was a pity that Yang Li was running wildly and consumed too much, and couldn't bear it at all. Eventually the big formation collapsed and was swallowed by tens of thousands of 2 stars into the big formation. At rank 6009, Dian Immortal confronted tens of thousands of 2-star devouring demon lord. Just a facet, claws were drawn down, and more than half of it fell instantly. Many Dian Immortals who were weaker than their divine bodies and flesh bodies were directly torn apart by a single claw, and their corpses split. Devouring Demon Lord even unscrupulously grabbed those broken corpses. Ukanshu. Combite. You guys, it. A golden armored power also used his claws, and his body flashed to close a gap. But unlike those devouring demon lords, his sharp claws turned into golden dragons, majestic and majestic. One person smashed thousands of demons, and the tens of thousands of 2-star devouring demon lords killed by oneself were defeated. It's a pity that it was a little too late, just a few breaths, and this group of devouring demon lords killed the 9-ranked Dian Immortals cleanly, and no one survived. Kill me. Even the corpse capital is not let go. This is the Ni Lin that has touched Dian Immortal. In a short moment, tens of thousands of devouring demon lord was torn to pieces by the golden armor power. And he was injured very seriously. On Mo Long's golden armor, there was black blood all over his body, his hair was messy, and his face was stained with blood. Although he looked down on the weak Dian Immortal, he felt that these people were working as cars on the man's arm, but when those devouring demon lords were tearing up their kind and devouring them with big mouths, he couldn't help but rushed over. In the first 2 waves, he also killed a lot of devouring demon lords, plus the bonus of having a general position, and obtained a lot of treasure points. After redeeming a set of innate treasures, he is also considered to be back to the top, plus strong. He is no weaker than those half-legged monarchs. You guys, why bother? Looking at the mutilated body, Mo Long had pity in his eyes. It's just that on this battlefield, countless fights are being staged. The top Dian Immortal is also falling, and the peak Dian Immortal's body is damaged, the divine body collapses, and the origin is almost extinguished. Those who can really fight on the battlefield of Zhongheng are still those extreme Dian Immortals and half-trail monarchs. But Jian Wushuang and Dao Shou-Tian, like 2 suns, shining in the deepest place that swallowed the devil tens of thousands. These 2-star devouring demon lords can't hurt Jian Wushuang at all. Even if millions of devouring demon lords now besie him, they are still as steady as ever. Chapter 5249. Xinghe Lake Sea Sword Intent. Jian Wushuang shouted coldly. A magnificent sword intent burst out along the tip of the sword. A river of sharp sword energy rolled on the battlefield, and it was annoying that everyone who encountered it was torn apart, and even the origin of the swallowing body in the body was absorbed by Jian Wushuang. Not enough. The killing wasn't fast enough. In the huge heart sword world, the sword intent wasn't enough, and it wasn't pure enough. Out. A dragon howl soaring to the sky sounded, and a huge candle dragon phantom rushed out of the ground under Jian Wushuang's feet. Beast God Realm. Jian Wushuang, whose divine body has soared to 7,000 or 8,000 times, has a body size of thousands of miles, and can already be comparable to Fa Tianxiang and Earth. Candle Dragon. Innate life in the largest river area in the starry sky. He is stronger than a special life, he is born with a universe origin, and he is born to be the strongest. The phantom roamed around Jian Wushuang. A pair of huge wings cover the sky and the sun, and sharp claws can cut through the space. This is the true origin of space, the darling of the entire space. Let him roam. The scarlet light on Jian Wushuang's eyebrows flickered, looking at the candle dragon phantom, with a look of yearning. Born to be the emperor, the huge space contained millions of devouring demon lords. Jian Wushuang held the sword in both hands and slashed out with one sword. The huge sword light scattered hundreds of millions of times, filling the entire space. The strongest sword. In other words, it is the strongest sword intent today, the most perfect swordsmanship for group killing. Those who have used swords from ancient times to the present can only go down in the annals of history if they have this sword. Wow! In the airwave that Zhenguang turned into, there were hundreds of millions of sword intents mingled, killing all the devouring demon kings. 1 sword million. 1,000,000 2 stars swallowed the devil and was beheaded by a sword. Now that the entire battlefield has fallen to less than 2 million, He himself has killed half of it. When the rest of the people saw this sword, they also held their breath, especially those top Dayan immortals. They could kill one devouring demon with one blow at most, but Zhen Wushuang killed 1,000,000 by one person. The corpse of 1,000,000 devouring demon fell into the sky. How spectacular it was. Tearing Heaven also noticed the movement of Zhen Wushuang in the army on the other end, with a wry smile in his eyes. Although he was unwilling, he also had to admit that Zhen Wushuang was much better than him, not only in the field. The divine body and origin are much stronger than him, especially the strong growth, at least 100 times stronger than him. This gap is too big. If it is transformed into combat power, he and Zhen Wushuang will fight for a day. Maybe Zhen Wushuang's breathing will not be disturbed. Even if he has been taking drugs, he will not be able to keep up with Zhen Wushuang's rhythm. Zhen Wushuang's blow, destroying 1,000,000 and devouring the devil, his expression remained unchanged, and he even wanted to come back a few more times. If it were other powerful Taoists, I am afraid it would have been unable to withstand it. Come again. Arcana points rushed into his identity token. 1,000,000 2-stars swallowed the devil, with a reward of 100,000 Arcana points, plus the position bonus of the coach. It was 150,000 Arcana points. Being strong means being able to do whatever you want. Nowadays, those who can rank first on all primitive stars are practitioners of the ultimate way. This is the ultimate charm. Maybe everyone is a half-step emperor, but the practitioners of the ultimate path are stronger than the practitioners of other origin paths. Especially when facing this kind of trial, the practitioners of the ultimate path are too advantageous, and they have a reserve of power. It is dozens of times stronger than other practitioners. Other Taoists may be exhausted if they kill 2,000,000, but the ultimate way can kill 20,000,000 and there is still room for it. Especially Zhen Wushuang, the origin of Ji Dao surpasses the ultimate Dao, let alone 20,000,000, even if it is hundreds of millions, he can slowly consume these devouring demon lords. With the first sword, there is the second sword. The same moves, the same devouring demon lord. Wow! It was the fall of the 1,000,000 devouring demon king. This scene not only stunned the Dayan immortal on the field, but also felt incredible on other primordial stars who had been observing the rankings. In Jiajia's original star ranking, Zhen Wushuang's treasure point increased by 150,000 every time it changed. The interval between the front and back does not exceed 5 breaths. What is this concept? The top Dayan immortals who were seriously injured and invincible stood on the wall, looking at Zhen Wushuang's figure with envy. 1,000,000 sword swallows the devil, 150,000 treasure points. The former is strength, and the latter is opportunity. Both of them are satisfied as long as they are the same. This is the stunner of the contemporary era. At this time, everyone put Zhen Wushuang's position in the first place, surpassing Hua Qing and Wanxing Tiandi who had previously shown their brilliance. 1 star and 3 emperors. There were no half-step emperors in the original Jiajiu primitive star, now there are 3 half-step emperors. In the future, they will be able to take what they have seen today as an experience if they go out of the Temple of Discord. Everyone is a witness to the growth of a day against the sky. Thousands of devouring the devil will finally be solved by the time of a cup of tea. 8,000,000 of them were all beheaded by Zhen Wushuang. Ranking: First, Zhen Wushuang 2nd, Wanxing Tiandi 3rd, Demon Monk Huaqing 4th, Blood Moon Daoist 5th, Lungshuang Daojun 6th, Ji Chaoyang 7th, Seer the Heaven Daoist. What's interesting is that Ji Chaoyang is still 6th and Tian is ranked 7th. Ji Chaoyang and Hua Qing separated on the northern city wall. According to Hua Qing's indisputable temperament, Ji Chaoyang picked up a big deal. Dao Monarch Blood Moon is good at the field, so Dao Monarch Cold Frost naturally can't compete. When Tian saw this list, his face was dark. He killed 1,000,000 by himself, and only obtained more than 100,000 treasure points, plus the previous accumulation, no more than 300,000 treasure points. The fight for the Candle Dragon Wings was a complete failure. Ended. After the 6th wave of offensive, there was also a day of preparation time, and many people sent to the City Lord's mansion, ready to exchange treasures and strive for breakthroughs. Starting from the 7th wave is the real test. The 7th and 8th waves are okay, and the 9th wave tens of millions of 3 stars swallows the devil, even if the limit Dian Immortal is threatened with falling. By then, it would be a tough battle for Jian Wushuang. Glancing at the record on the leaderboard, in addition to him, Wanxing has broken 1 million. They shouldn't be over yet. I have to go to the City Lord's mansion first. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank, and as soon as he entered the city, he teleported into the City Lord's mansion. In the main hall of the City Lord's mansion, hundreds of people have been here cross-legged for a long time. Most of these people were retired from other city walls in the fifth wave, and some came down from the east city wall. Nowadays, seeing someone teleporting in, many people are looking over, wanting to ask about the outside world. When they saw that it was Jian Wushuang, they stopped again and didn't dare to step forward. How can Jian Wushuang have time to take care of these people, stepping forward and entering the Supreme Treasure Hall again? Familiar scene, familiar old man. The white-haired old man has a pair of spiral-shaped corners, and his body is unusually strong, but the white beard and hair cover the angular muscles of the body. Chapter 5250. Senior, I'm here to exchange the treasure. Jian Wushuang didn't talk nonsense, and went straight to the subject. The white-bearded old man, unlike Qiu Huang, looked overwhelming. After looking at Jian Wushuang, he faintly replied, "Well, you have a lot of treasures on your body. What do you want to exchange for?" Wow. With that, the old man with horns waved his hand, and countless treasures were floating in the hall. The distribution of treasures is like a triangular pyramid, and the lowest level is the cheapest peak treasure. Further up is the innate treasure, and even the innate treasure suit and the best innate treasure. From small to high, inferior congenital supreme, medium congenital supreme, upper congenital supreme suit, best congenital supreme. Then there are a few special ancient secret treasures. These secret treasures are completely unique, their types and powers are different, and the price is more than 500,000 treasure points. Senior, I want to exchange candle dragon wings, Jian Wushuang said firmly. The candle dragon wings of dreams. One of the accessories of the beast soldier candle dragon, he now has the eye of the candle dragon. Combining the two, his strength will skyrocket again. Many people now think that he is a half-step emperor, but in fact he is not at all. Although the two of divine body and swallowing had improved a lot, there was still some distance from the half-step emperor. Don't look at him swallowing the devil with 1 million in one blow. He really wants to fight with the half-step emperor. He can save his life, but he will definitely not have the upper hand. With the candle dragon wings, he can truly display the power of the half-step emperor. Candle dragon wings. The eyes of the old man with horns lit up, and then he leaked a look of shock. Haha, good. But you have to wait a moment, there is also a little guy on the other side who wants to exchange the treasure. Jian Wushuang leaked the color of doubt. Wait. Is there anyone faster than him? No matter how fast he can come in, he can redeem that 800,000 candle dragon wing. How can someone rank in front of him, making the old man with horns so happy? Although Jian Wushuang was a little puzzled, he didn't dare to say more. Anyway, he had already said that he would exchange candle dragon wings, and he had enough treasure points on his body, so he didn't believe it. Someone could cut him horizontally. After just a few breaths, the old man with horns was full of joy, and he faced Jian Wushuang again. Haha, okay. The old man with horns smiled, then looked at Jian Wushuang and said, "You want to redeem the candle dragon wings, right? Take out your identity token." After Jian Wushuang took out the token, he automatically flew towards the old man with horns. It's just that when he looked at the pyramid-shaped treasure again, he found that the imitation of the eternal treasure 8-Fang Yunlong seal that had been standing at the top of the tower had disappeared. He was stunned, and then his eyes flashed before he realized that the imitation eternal treasure was exchange. No wonder the old man with horns had to be distracted to deal with it and let him wait here. It turned out that someone had exchanged the 8-faced Yunlong seal. Huiking's record should be enough, but his long stick has almost unlimited power, especially after inheriting the inheritance. Not only has his strength skyrocketed, even the brown long stick has become silver, even more than before. Be strong. There is no need to redeem the imitation eternal treasure at all. It is better to redeem other treasures if there is that treasure. Except for Hui Qing, There is only the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor, and he also has 1,000,000 treasures. It was originally a half-step emperor, and he also cultivated a certain emperor's genius, and now he has obtained the eternal treasure of imitation. Wang Xing's strength is probably going to skyrocket again, approaching the emperor. But as long as the candle dragon wings can be combined with the candle dragon eye, according to the old man with horns, the beast weapon is really so powerful. After the combination of the two, it should be comparable to the imitation of the eternal treasure, Jian Wushuang secretly guessed. The old man with horns stretched out his hand to grab the treasure floating in the hall. The candle dragon wings exuding endless power were carefully taken out by him. It was also the first time Jian Wushuang saw this pair of candle dragon wings, and when he looked closely, he discovered that the color of this pair of wings was not scarlet. Only at the end of the wings, there was a scarlet color, and most of it was still black, but the scarlet color was like a streamer, and when the wings moved a little, the scarlet halo would also tremble. Yeah. Your luck is also very strong. You have one of the accessories of the beast warrior, and another is in the hands of another little guy, but I think you are a little stronger than the opponent. It seems that you have hope. Make up 3 pieces of candle dragon accessories. The old man with horns slowly commented. If it's a complete beast weapon, he doesn't even have the qualifications to watch, but he doesn't care about the smashed ancient soldier. Because he himself was an extremely powerful casting god, and also a powerful warrior under Kishan's command. Although his strength was not strong, he was able to refine treasures. Many of the treasures in this treasure house were made by him, especially the imitation of the eternal treasure 8-Fang Yunlong seal was made by him. That's why he was so excited when Wanxing exchanged that treasure. The Bafang Yunlong seal was refined in ancient times, but unfortunately it has always been stored in the treasure house. The 5th Order Emperor made it more than enough the 4th Order Emperor could exert its full power. Although it was exchanged by a Dayan immortal, Wanxing's talent, as long as he succeeded in harmony, it would be to sit around and look around for 5. The 4th Order Emperor is very simple for him, the 5th Order Emperor depends on good luck. Now that the time and space are long in Hanoi, how can there be more fortune than the Temple of Chishan? As long as the Wanxing combination succeeds, the Chishan Temple will definitely cultivate vigorously. The 5th Order Emperor is really nothing. You know, the 5th Order Emperor of the original universe, when Dayan immortal, was not so against the sky. The Arcana points were deducted, and Jian Wushuang also got one of the accessories of the coveted Candle Dragon. Candle Dragon wings. He couldn't wait to recognize the Lord directly, and when the blood dripped on the Candle Dragon's wings, a dragon roar sounded. This is the once overlord of the starry sky, Candle Dragon, the innate emperor. It is conceivable that the secret treasure refined with his body is more powerful than Jian Wushuang's cognition. At least this pair of wings can't be damaged even if the emperor and the strong attack with all their strength. Of course, Jian Wushuang is not invincible with it. If the emperor really wants to kill him, he can see through his origin and divine body at a glance. There is no need to break this Candle Dragon wing. Moreover, the strength of Candle Dragon's wings is not defense. Defense is nothing more than passive means. The truly powerful place is the power of its own space. The Candle Dragon is a space beast god, and his wings account for more than half of the credit. With it, Jian Wushuang can also improve his understanding of space. And his speed can be incomprehensible, at least under the emperor. He has the confidence to aspire. His own speed is fast, and the speed requirements of Kendo are also very high. Even among Dao monarchs, his speed still ranks among the top. MX. Chapter 52-51. Except for the Blood Moon Dao monarch and the 10,000-star Heaven Emperor who broke out with all his strength, he was a bit unsure, and other people might not be as fast as him. Now with the Candle Dragon wings, his speed will absolutely crush the same level, surpassing the Emperor by half a step, and even faster than those heaven-defying Dayan immortals. I truly achieved my first degree under the Emperor. Jian Wushuang took a closer look and plunged into it. When he used the Beast God realm again, he frowned. It's over, Jian Wushuang secretly said in his heart. The speed is the same as he imagined, and it suits him incomparably. But what he wants most is the fusion with the eye of the candle dragon, although he dare not extravagantly ask for a complete beast weapon, but as long as the two are fused with each other, the power of this ancient treasure can be comparable to those imitations of eternity. The treasure is. Now it is incompatible, and the value is greatly discounted. Fortunately, when cooperating with the beast god domain, his speed did increase by more than one level, only to make up for him slightly. If other people exchanged this, wouldn't they be off? Spent so many treasure points, only increased the speed. Seeing Jian Wushuang's doubts, the old man Yang Jiao slowly said, "Little guy, do you feel that the two can't be completely integrated with each other? The old man with horns, who has seen everything, sits in great danger." Jian Wushuang opened his eyes and nodded respectfully. That's right, since the beast god soldier was destroyed, although there are still a lot of powers left above, the cost to restore it is very high. The old man with horns grasped the small hammer in his hand and said lightly. Jian Wushuang was frowning, and the master spoke. It seemed that the price of wanting to merge was really extraordinary. "Master, I don't know how to merge. Now that he has obtained this ancient secret treasure, and its power is so powerful, he can be inspired by a great Yangxian. Even after entering the Emperor, it can help him a lot. Especially now that there is an opportunity for the two to merge with each other, as long as the fusion can be comparable to the imitation of the eternal treasure, even if he reaches the Fifth Order Emperor, it is extremely useful. This is a secret treasure that can increase the divine body. Great value. In the primitive universe, the most heaven-defying special life has tens of thousands of divine bodies. Now with the eyes of the beast god, he can barely explode to 8,000 times. If the two merge, it is not impossible for him to increase the basic divine body more than 10,000 times. Divine body, origin. These are two paths for practitioners. The former affects combat power, while the latter affects the realm. Both are indispensable. Now his origin Dao is strong enough, even if sword Dao can't break through in a short time, he can still be comparable to the half-step emperor, and his soul realm rises very quickly. It is not impossible to break through the ninth revolution, and he will be able to improve at that time. What is needed now is the strength of the divine body, and the subsequent devouring demon lord's attack. He himself is not very sure. Seeing Jian Wushuang's face solemnly, the old shofar man said a few words for his great respect. If you want to merge, it is not difficult, it depends on whether you are willing to spend it. Jian Wushuang's eyes were firm. This opportunity should not be missed. The fusion of the beast gods and soldiers could only be done by the great power in the Temple of the Gods. If he really went out, his eyes were blackened and he was blinded. No matter what the price, I'm willing, Jian Wu said with a calm expression on both sides. The old man with horns nodded lightly, and then said, "If you want to merge, you must be the best caster in the universe. This old man can do it, and the rest is much simpler. You need 5 heavens and earth. Origin, 4 of them are in the treasure hall, you can redeem them. Respectively the origin of gold crystal, the origin of wood crystal, the origin of fire crystal, and the origin of earth crystal." Jian Wushuang wrote down one by one, the origin of the 4 heavens and the earth. He had some memories, and he probably glanced at it once. The prices are all around 100,000 treasure points. Now he has 1.3 million treasure points on his body, and after deducting the 800,000 yuan of the eye of the candle dragon, there are exactly 500,000, which is enough. As for the origin of the space, it won't be too late to redeem it after a few waves of praise. Even if it is exchanged by other people, it's okay. He has the candle dragon wings, and the speed of understanding the origin of the space is also very fast, although it can't be improved significantly, but the price is lasting. As for the treasures, these are all things outside of the body, as long as they can improve their combat power, they are worth it. Jian Wushuang didn't care about this at all. In the next 3 waves, there are more than 10 million treasure points. He can at least win half of it. Although the more difficult he is, the confidence to win half is still there. Moreover, with the candle dragon wings, the speed can be even higher. Quickly, he can walk in the devouring demon lord. The origin of the 4 heavens and the earth, 400,000 treasure points. "Thank you, senior," Jian Wushuang respectfully said. Then he asked with some doubts, Senior, I don't know where to redeem the rest of the original source. The rest? The old man with horns smiled slightly. All he could do was within his scope. The remaining share is with him. Although he knows it, he can't tell Jian Wushuang that the first 4 shares are in the treasure hall and they are public. He said it and said, but the remaining share is not public. He can't speak out. Little guy, I can't tell you where the rest is. The horns shook his head steadily. Jian Wushuang's expression was taken aback. Can't tell him, what does it mean? Can't tell him, why did you say so much in the first place? Let him play. There is still something hidden. Jian Wushuang guessed from the bottom of his heart that he was like an ant on a hot pot, very anxious. It's a little bit worse every time, it's really uncomfortable. Jian Wushuang had an idea, and asked tactfully, Senior, I don't know this last source, do I have any hope of obtaining it? This is a very sophisticated question. Even if the Temple of Chishan has control over the old man with horns, it won't care about it. The old man with horns also leaked a hint of smile, with a rudimentary expression, nodded to Jian Wushuang, and smiled lightly. This can tell you that there are still opportunities, especially in the 11th wave, your hope. It's huge. Some happy old horns also narrowed the scope a lot, which made Jian Wushuang very happy. By the way, the name of this last source is similar to the names of other sources of heaven and earth. The old man with horns continued. Jian Wushuang's pupils shrank, and he said in surprise, the origin of the crystal? Correct. Thank you, seniors, for answering the doubts of the juniors. The juniors will remember. Jian Wushuang bowed deeply. This time it was from the heart. He remembered all those who helped him on the path of spiritual practice. Xian Yi. Jian Wushuang bowed, thinking of the mentor who had been of great help to him in his mind. His eyes flashed, and he was a little sad, not only muttering to himself. Teacher Xian Yi, will we meet again? Since my farewell, I have grown a lot. Chapter 52-52. I don't know when I will meet and show what I have learned, so that you know that I have been moving forward over the years, never staying, and follow the teaching. Recalling the Tao of my life, it was left behind by the reason Xuani. This is his enlightenment teacher. Although I also knew in my heart that teacher Xian Yi had a plan, the reasons for never showing up are complicated and confusing. But the respect in my heart has never disappeared. When he raised his head again, Jian Wushuang put away his emotions. Go, little guy, you can come to me after all these sources are gathered. The old man is still a little good on the road of casting. After speaking, the old man with horns put away the treasures and disappeared in the hall. Jian Wushuang's figure flashed, and he also left the hall. He just went out and ran into the 10,000-star Heaven Emperor, who was also teleported out. When the two met, they didn't say much, they just nodded slightly. His ranking really surprised the 10,000-star Heavenly Emperor. It seems that there is another opponent. Wenxing secretly sighed in his heart, but with the imitation of the eternal treasure, coupled with his unique knowledge. Among the half-step emperors, he is considered to be at the top. The two passed by. Jian Wushuang went to the treasure hall next door. Wenxing left the city lord's mansion. Boom. Stepping into the palace, the familiar figure and smile came into view. Haha, boy, you are late this time. That space treasure has already been exchanged. Qiu Huang laughed. He seemed to want to see Jian Wushuang regret it. It was a pity that he was disappointed. Jian Wushuang just sighed faintly, and didn't care too much. Huh? You are not calling at all? Qiu Huang asked in confusion. Jian Wushuang said with a smile in his voice, enlightenment is not forced. If you can't get it, then fate has not arrived. That treasure is really not attractive to him now, so forget it. Even if there is, he will first exchange for the 4 origins of heaven and earth. He touched the threshold of the origin of space, and then he raised it, and got the recognition of the origin of space, and he traveled in space ever since. Can't improve too much, now the trial is getting more and more intense. What he needs is a qualitative change in strength, so that he can become stronger in Vietnam. Now every point in his strength can get a substantial return. This kind of opportunity is not many, he has to cherish it. Qiu Huang squinted his eyes, nodded slightly, and said in a tone of educated younger generation, "Well, yes, it's really unusual that the mood is frozen, at least the old man, I don't think you are telling lies. 1 is 1, 2 is 2. The juniors don't have to coax the seniors. Okay, what are you going to exchange this time? It seems that you have a lot of treasures. I will give you some advice, old man." Qiu Huang rubbed his hands and said with some excitement. Jian Wushuang didn't understand why this old guy liked to recommend treasures to people so much. Could it be that he sold a lot and got commission? However, thinking of the last time he was scammed, he had an idea, pretending to be pious, and asked Qiu Huang to recommend it to him. Sitting on the throne, Qiu Huang waved his hand and took out all his belongings and began to give directions. Every kind of treasure said that the sky was falling into the sky. Jian Wushuang did not say a word, and silently nodded to the side to express his approval. In the end, Qiu Huang jumped out of almost 500,000 treasures, and once again elaborated on the stakes and how useful it would be for Jian Wushuang in the future. Many of them are really useful treasures for Jian Wushuang in the future. Especially the treasure of perfect flesh. Harmony is not only a test of the original Tao, but also a test of the divine body. I won't say much about the two. The strength of the physical body can also increase the chances of He Dao. Especially when the physical body is cultivated to a state of immortality, even if the physical body is torn and shattered by humans, it can be reunited. Falling down can leave the physical body for countless years and remain the same. Jian Wushuang recognized this. According to Qiu Huang's plan, the physical body is also hierarchical. The first is to cultivate to consummation, and then divide the body into the upper, middle and lower grades, as well as the special supergrade demon body. Although Qiu Huang was boasting of being extremely powerful, Jian Wushuang remained unmoved. These things had to be discussed after he had transferred to other halls. He didn't know much about the physical body. He only knew that Mo Long had cultivated to consummation, and he was still a very strong one. The backlash of the Blood Jade Palace had never made him fall. That is the innate treasure suit. The backlash is extremely powerful. The ordinary Dian immortal had to fall, but he was forced to carry it down. The power of the physical body is also related to the divine body. At that time, Mo Long also had the eye of the candle dragon. After the increase of the divine body, coupled with the consummation of the physical body, he possessed such a powerful physical power. Jian Wushuang knew that Qiu Huang was selling guanzi, so he took the initiative to ask, "Senior, you said that a body can be 1,000 times as a top-grade body, so how many times a god body is needed for this supergrade?" This. Qiu Huang narrowed his eyes with a look of yearning. "You are dissatisfied with that. I myself was only a top-grade flesh body back then. Many strong people are only refined to top-grade, and the flesh body can be comparable to the innate treasure. Extreme, raising one's physical body to a supergrade level, not to mention how many treasures are needed, the hurdle of the divine body alone has stopped countless Dian immortals. The god-defying immortal who can truly condense the physical body to the supergrade level requires 10,000 times the divine body. Without 10,000 times the divine body, no matter how much resources are smashed, it will be useless. This is the ultimate physical body. After becoming an emperor, you can have an external incarnation, and there is no way to improve it, unless you reform it." Qiu Huang paused, not daring to say too much. He is still some distance away from the peak of the universe, knowing that although he is a little more than other emperors, it is limited to that point. 10,000 times. Jian Wushuang's interest just mentioned disappeared suddenly, but his expression condensed slightly when he heard the transformation. Can the emperor transform his body? This was the first time he had heard of it, but the distance was too far, and it flashed in his mind without thinking too much. How about it? Do you still have the confidence to practice? Qiu Huang deliberately stimulated. Jian Wushuang's expression regained his calmness, and said faintly, "The younger generation's divine body is less than 2,000 times, the gap is too big. Haha, let me just say, this supergrade flesh body is not cultivated by humans, it is reserved for those god-defying Avilders. Unbelievable." Jian Wushuang wanted to say something. Am I not enough to guard against the sky? Rank 9 Dian Immortal is strong enough to be like this. The key is that his ascent space is very sufficient, especially the origin, which is now so strong, but there is too much room for improvement. You need to know that a lot of great immortals have already raised the origin Dao to the 9th level, and even the origin Dao is about to reach its peak combat power. Or the special origin of the 2nd stage, after the completion, it will have the power of the Daoist. Chapter 52-53. Now because of the treasures of the Chishan Temple, the divine body and the physical body can be upgraded to a half-step emperor level. Just like the Wanxing Heavenly Emperor, although Zhen Wushuang didn't know the origin of his cultivation, it was certain that it was definitely not the ultimate way. Without the ultimate way of cultivating, he now has the half-step emperor's combat power. This is because the emperor's unique learning allows him to have half a step of the emperor's combat power, and his original path has been cultivated to the extreme. Is ranked at the top. The total ranking can be ranked 216, ranking ahead of him are half-step emperors who practice the ultimate way. Just imagine how powerful he is. Now that she has been exposed to her absenteeism, her ranking will definitely rise again. Especially now that he has exchanged the imitation eternal treasure, his combat power may have touched the emperor level. Transcend those ultimate existences that have not practiced faculty. After all, Jeremy can give Dian Immortal a qualitative leap. He was originally the strongest among Dao sovereigns, and he has practiced jerk, coupled with imitation of the eternal treasure. This combat power is definitely a heaven-defying existence in the top 100. A heaven-defying Dian Immortal who didn't master the ultimate and didn't cultivate the origin of 10,000 Dao, his combat power was enough to disregard all the powerhouses of the 2nd stage origin Dao. Wang Xingdao has reached the end, and one step is Ha Dao. He has also cultivated the genius, and in this respect, even the emperor of the outside world can't match it. There are very few things he can ascend, only a negligible physical body, or some other sideways. But Zhen Wushuang is different, he can improve too much. Not to mention that he has cultivated to consummation, he doesn't have that confidence, but he still has a lot of confidence before he breaks through to the 6th level. Although the ultimate way can be combined at the 7th level, but with Zhen Wushuang's current breakthrough speed, when he is combined, he can at least step into the 8th level, and even work hard to cultivate to the level of consummation. Only these two origins can make his strength reach an incredible level, Zhen Wushuang himself can't imagine. The divine body was a bit short, but it was 10,000 times the height that ordinary people could not see. Once Zhen Wushuang was also a special life, and he had only broadened his horizons when he entered Darciu. It was not until the opening of the Chishan Temple this time that he understood what a special life was. The darling of the origin of the universe is simply the prosun of the primitive universe. Weaknesses are all 3 to 5,000 times the divine body, and the top one is the 10,000 times divine body. Surpassed everyone at birth. This Zhen Wushuang was incomparable, he had nothing to say, but as long as the treasures given by the Temple of Chishan were not worse than this time, Wanbei dare not say that, 5,000 times he was still confident. In addition to these, if you don't say anything else, it's just fascinating. If there is no suitable faculty in the future, Zhen Wushuang's wholeheartedly dedicated to cultivating the source Dao will be able to walk out a road that is beyond the reach of the sky. When he reaches the limit, he can cut the ninth rank Dian Immortal. In the limit of the great Yangxian, raising everything to the limit, maybe you can achieve the feat of defeating the Emperor. This is something that has never happened in the original universe, but I don't know if there was such a day against the sky in ancient times. Senior, how strong is the great Yang Immortal in the ancient times? Zhen Wushuang couldn't help asking. When Qiu Huang above heard these words, his face blushed. In ancient times, he was not from the disciple of the gods. At that time, the god-defying Dian Immortals were disciples of the gods. He was really embarrassed to mention it, but he could only talk about himself back then. Then talk about me, old man. When I was a Taoist monarch, graciousness was what you call Dian Immortal. At that time, I could almost be able to fight the First-Order Emperor without losing the wind. Qiu Huang was very proud. Said. Compared with the little guys like Zhen Wushuang, he is indeed very talented. Since he was a child, He was a direct descendant of a big family. Although he was stubborn, he was a waste of time before he was 100 years old. He was surrounded by a lot of eagles and dogs, so he didn't know how to practice. It wasn't until after being assassinated that he began to practice wholeheartedly. The assassination changed Qiu Huang's life. Although luckily survived, it was the first time he walked on the edge of life and death. From then on, inspirational cultivating immortals. After all, he is a direct descendant and has sufficient resources. His matrilineal family is also very powerful. Several uncles are all powerful emperors, and his mother is also an extremely powerful emperor. I don't know how to get him a supreme skeleton from there, making him a forged natural supreme. Only 1,000 years have allowed him to become a strong Yangxian. In ancient times, Yangxian was also named Xiaodaodaojun. Only when you become an immortal can you touch the source and you can be regarded as a practitioner. Relying on inexhaustible use and hard work, Qiu Huang became a great master within 100,000, and has since stepped into the ranks of the strong. At that time, several Daozi of the same age in the family were just Dian immortals, not much better than him. Subsequent matrilineal family offended a terrifying strong man and was destroyed overnight. Once again, he was inspired to become a super strong man, disregarding the past and the present. In this way, millions of years have elevated themselves to the limit and broke through to become the emperor. And also a very strong fourth-order emperor. After becoming the emperor, his family did not help him so much. Moreover, their universe has been swept clean by several big families or sects. That kind of cannibalization is not comparable to those forces in the primitive universe. The current primitive universe, to be precise, even the emperor has not reached the peak, and the control of the major forces is also average. At least several epochs of reincarnation need to be developed to be as strong as the universe of the ancient times. Qiu Huang, who went to the long river of time and space, was also full of luck. Just after entering the long river of time and space, he encountered a great opportunity, and was later recruited into a certain big power, and was cultivated as a genius. It was only a matter of time to break through the 5th rank, and later this Qiu Huang city was obtained, and the combat power reached its peak. In the family, it is comparable to the existence of the clan leader. It is a pity that the forces where he was at the time were not very lucky, and they even dared to sneak attack on the forces where the gods were. The difference in strength between the two is not too big, the grassroots is okay, but there is a big gap among the top powers. In the end, the face is swept. The master of that power patted his buttocks and left. Qiu Huang and others were miserable. Fortunately, at that time, Qishan was building the Temple of Qishan and needed manpower, so these people were thrown into the big world of Temple of Qishan to build some treasures and treasures. Strange secrets. This waiting is countless epochs of reincarnation. Qiu Huang only stayed in that sword against the outside world. The old man was also a character back then, but his luck was not good. Otherwise, he could also take the 6th step. Qiu Huang said with emotion. The 6th step. That is the top powerhouse. Like the primitive universe now, the 4th-order emperor can walk sideways. If it were placed in the ancient era, the 4th-order emperor could barely count as a medium combat power. Chapter 52-54. The real top powerhouses are still those 6th-order emperors, or 5th-order emperors with special methods. Just like the old man with horns, although he only has the strength of tier 5, he can cast a treasure that is only the eternal treasure. At that time, sitting down in the Qishan, he was also a big man, with a status comparable to a 6th-order emperor, and even the Lord of the Universe had to treat him courteously. Okay, it's almost done, you kid, hurry up and pick the treasure. Jian Wushuang leaked a smile. Senior's story is really wonderful, the younger generation has been taught, and they understand that they need those treasures. Really? You are fancy that? Qiu Huang asked in doubt, and weighed the treasure in his hand. Looking at Jian Wushuang curiously. Jin Jing origin. Qiu Huang's face was shocked, a little confused, but he was still calm, did not ask, just nodded. Wood crystal origin. Now Qiu Huang can't sit still a little bit. There is no question about the origins of these heaven and earth. This kid doesn't buy the treasures he recommends, so why do you buy these? The origin of the fire crystal, and the origin of the earth crystal. Jian Wushuang said all the 4 origins he needed in one breath. The origins of the 4 heavens and the earth, 400,000 treasures. Are you sure you want to exchange it? Qiu Huang asked incredulously. Jian Wushuang nodded firmly, and replied, yes. He originally came from these 4 sources, and the reason why he talked with Qiu Huang for so long was to get a little more useful information. Qiu Huang also reacted at this time, only to realize that this kid had been playing tricks. But when he saw Jian Wushuang's breath change, he discovered the hidden secret. Do you know about the beast god soldier? Qiu Huang asked incredulously. Oh. Seniors are also interested in beast soldiers? Hehe, it's more than just interest. Qiu Huang's face sank, his voice became serious, and he guessed, I'm asking you if the old horned man in the Supreme Treasure Hall asked you to come here to redeem these 4 origins. Senior knows this. Jian Wushuang seemed to smell a bad feeling from his words. That's right. Qiu Huang took a breath, put a smile on his face again, and then said, boy, I can tell you clearly that you are fooled. You were deceived by the old Yang Sanmu. He asked you to exchange these 4 origins, just to let you find him to refine the treasure. Jian Wushuang frowned slightly, a little puzzled by Qiu Huang's meaning. He knew that the old man with horns was a divine envoy who specializes in refining treasures. Without his affirmation, he would really not dare to spend so many precious points to exchange these heaven and earth origins. Now that he was cheated, what do you mean? Don't have an expression that you don't understand. The old man tells you clearly that the accessories of your 2 beasts cannot be integrated at all. If they can be combined, do you think it is important for you to be a Dian or the beast? Jian Wushuang was stunned by Qiu Huang's word. Yes. What level of treasure is that beast god soldier? First of all, Jian Wushuang is a powerful secret treasure that is certain that it is likely to exceed the eternal treasure. If it were such a powerful treasure, how could it be exchanged for these Dian immortals? Is there any hidden secret? Jian Wushuang was also a little confused, and he blurted out a very thoughtless sentence. Will the temple of Chishan plot my candle dragon eye? Puff. Qiu Huang, who was sitting above, almost laughed. Ha ha ha, are you going to laugh at the old man? The temple of Chishan is plotting you a treasure from Dian immortal. Ha ha ha, this is the best joke I have heard so far. Maybe I will never hear it again in my life, a joke that is more funny than this. Jian Wushuang was confused. Qiu Huang suppressed his smile and explained, little guy, first of all, I can assure you that the temple of Chishan will never deceive your treasure. Don't worry about that. At most, the 3 eyes of the sheep will cheat you. I know that Candle Dragon Wing is indeed a beast soldier, but the beast soldier has its own origin. Now the Candle Dragon has long been broken, and the origin has long since disappeared. How do the beasts and warriors of the Candle Dragon origin fuse? Qiu Huang continued, you don't think that by virtue of the 5 heavens and the earth, you can merge the beasts and gods. The former beasts and gods contain a complete spatial origin. Also, do you know who made this beast weapon? In addition to shock, Jian Wushuang's expression was shock. First of all, he was surprised that the beasts were stronger than he had imagined, the source of the complete space. The Emperor can't grasp it. It is the origin of space comparable to the origin of the universe. Is there a space source comparable to the universe in a secret treasure? It made him dare not even think about it. If the beast god weapon were so powerful, the Chishan temple would really not be open to them Dian immortal. But I heard Qiu Huang explain that the origin has already collapsed, and even if the 5 sources of heaven and earth are collected, they cannot be integrated at all. These 5 heaven and earth origins are all in one strand, and none of them are complete. Even if it is complete, it can't merge with each other into a real spatial origin. Jian Wushuang, who knows everything repeatedly, looks like ashes. The old man with horns looks pretty reliable. How could you cheat him? Jian Wushuang continued to ask. I hope seniors can answer. He wanted to hear how exactly this beast warrior was refined, so that the heart is dead. Anyway, the original source has not yet been obtained, and it is a big deal that he will not exchange it again. Qiu Huang saw Zhen Wushuang's interest aroused, and said again, speaking it out will also change your understanding of Qishan, and let you understand what the Star Overlord is. You should know that the beast weapon is refined by the body of the natural beast god. What you don't know is that the body is just the beast weapon you see. There are some things that you can't use, the beast weapon. Not only does it contain the complete origin of the space, but there is also the consciousness of the beast in the beast gods, and the weak ones can't control it at all. Zhen Wushuang was shocked. Beast consciousness. When he fully displayed the candle dragon realm, could that candle dragon be transformed by the candle dragon's consciousness? At first he felt that he had completely inspired the candle dragon realm. It turns out that the ghost of the candle dragon is a manifestation of consciousness knowing the truth. The back is instantly startled with cold sweat. Qiu Huang continued, "What kind of kid? Now I know how difficult it is to merge. Even if you have collected all 5 sources, you may not be able to condense a strand of spatial origin, let alone the consciousness of the beast god." Back then, the gods of the gods killed the 8 beast gods in the long river of time and space, destroyed the kingdoms of the gods, and even skinned them into cramps and refined them into the gods of beasts. This is a masterpiece of the gods. You want to make a tier 5, it's just a wishful thinking that the god-forging messenger will merge with the beasts and gods to you. Indeed, as Qiu Huang said, Qishan was the overlord back then. How could a secret treasure created by an overlord be able to be reproduced by a small god-forging messenger? Dear, click in, give a good comment, the higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station, data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ad. Chapter 52-55. Don't be too disappointed. That old guy was fooled by the identity of the messenger of the gods. He tried to refine the eternal treasure every day, and finally made some imitations. Now he is wishing to recreate the beast warrior. This joke is not funny. Qiu Huang looked at Zhen Wushuang's face and tried to comfort him. But Zhen Wushuang didn't think so. The old shofar man is not as unbearable as Qiu Huang said. He didn't know whether there was the consciousness of a beast on the candle dragon's wings. Maybe Qiu Huang knew it, or the big man named Zhu Yi knew it. Zhen Wushuang guessed that these Dayan immortals could not be thrown to them, because they really had the consciousness of beast gods, so the emperor should not let them fully understand. If there is some enlightenment from the above, maybe the origin of space will break through. It is a waste of such treasure to give them these Dayan immortals. If it doesn't, it makes sense. One piece can only increase the speed. It is really useful for him, such as the Dayan immortal who has not yet been recognized by the origin of the space. The usefulness to the emperor is only to increase the speed. There is almost no big gap. If defined in this way, then it is correct, otherwise it is impossible to give them these Dayan immortals. However, in his candle dragon's eyes, there was the consciousness of the beast god. This was something he had clearly determined. Qiu Huang didn't know and couldn't see this. But the old man with the horns, who is the messenger of the gods, can see it. He saw the difference between the eye of the candle dragon and the wing of the candle dragon, and he dared to open his mouth to help him fuse, asking him to collect 5 heaven and earth origins in order to fuse a ray of space origin. Qiu Huang was right about this. How about it? Are you going to exchange it now? Qiu Huang asked without a hassle with his legs folded. After his painstaking explanation, he decided that Zhen Wushuang would not exchange it. It's a pity that he was disappointed this time. Zhen Wushuang bowed slightly, his complexion restored. Senior Qiu Huang, thank you for your guidance. His words were very respectful, which came from the heart. No matter how he fooled him before, saying so much this time really made him receive a lot of goods and made him believe in the old man with horns even more. At least he knew how obsessed the old horned man was with secret treasures. Because of this, he would help him wholeheartedly to fuse beasts and magic weapons. Although this thing is crazy, but the others are crazy. He has any excuse not to follow the madness, but it is only 400,000 treasure points, and he is betting. The last crystal origin, the 11th wave of devouring demon attacked him with confidence to hold, and he had the confidence to take all the 5 origins. Slowly straightening up, Jian Wushuang looked at Qiu Huang with respect. Just want to understand. Qiu Huang smiled lightly. As a result, Jian Wushuang said astonishingly. The younger generation is determined. Jian was bilingualism is firm and unwavering. It's better to redeem the origins of the 4 heavens and earth. Since senior Yang dared to fight, the juniors have no reason not to fight. Qiu Huang's expression changed. He was about to get angry, but he seemed to have thought of something, and finally he didn't say anything. Great. Swish swish. The origin of the 4 worlds and the token all flew towards Jian Wushuang. Thanks, senior. Jian Wushuang carefully collected these origins into the world of Sumi, and thanked him respectfully again. Qiu Huang recalled the past, and said with emotion, I really don't understand you people, who was like you back then, but he gambled more than you determination. This is something he has never understood. When he was weak, the determination he always felt was to practice wholeheartedly. He obviously did it, but when he saw other practitioners, he couldn't understand their determination. Is determination really to give up oneself and stick to the Tao? Jian Wushuang watched Qiu Huang fall into deep thought, and he didn't know whether to leave directly, or to interrupt him to say goodbye. Fortunately, Qiu Huang was just stunned for a while, and finally he sighed again and asked him a question that surprised him. Boy, you are taking the ultimate kendo, why don't you see that you have a powerful saber? Saber. This time I changed to Jian Wushuang and lamented. He wants to have it too. But so far I haven't met a suitable one, and even if I exchanged it, I still have no intention of raising a sword. Returning to the seniors, the juniors have not yet encountered a suitable divine sword, and their strength is rising again, and they have no intention of raising the sword. Jian Wushuang replied truthfully. Qiu Huang's thoughts moved, and then he said, that's right. Then you have to work hard, but you are favored by a big man, and you will have something with a sword. There is no need to rush to exchange it. The Chishan temple is not as rigid as you thought. Oh. Jian Wushuang was surprised, not so rigid. Is there another big man who fancy him? Could it be that he, like Hua Qing, was bestowed by Chishan temple? Jian Wushuang became excited when he thought of this. Qiu Huang also saw it, and immediately poured him a basin of cold water. Of course, don't think too well, everything needs a corresponding price, try to resist until the end. You will know it then. Jian Wushuang didn't say much after enlightenment, and quickly bid farewell to retreat. The price, the last of resistance. It seems that the price is really not small, and the last 19th wave that needs to be resisted. He had confidence in the 11 waves, and of course he had to look at the level of the devouring demon lord of the undisclosed 10 waves before he dared to make up his mind. If the span is too large, forget it. A saber is not worth it. The ultimate kendo. Don't be afraid if you don't have a sword in your hand, just have a sword in your heart. As soon as they left the palace, they saw Hui Qing and Ji Chaoyang in the main hall of the city lord's mansion, talking with Daojun Longshuang. After seeing Jian Wushuang, he waved quickly. Brother Wushuang, you are too tough, you can actually suppress the tearing sky, making me the 6. Ji Chaoyang, as always, has no demeanor, pulling Jian Wushuang bluntly and talking about them. The Battle of the City Wall. On the side, Hua Qing made up some of the things that were missed. What Jian Wushuang didn't expect was that these 2 people became living bodhisattvas on the north wall. Starting from the 5th wave, it was the 2 of them who resisted the devouring demon lord, first killed a large number, and then let those weaker Dayan immortals go into battle. This is naturally great for those who are weak. But for those who are strong, it is a great evil. This kind of story of sheep and wolves, doesn't Hua Qing know that Ji Chaoyang is not afraid of riot? But seeing Ji Chaoyang's excited look, Jian Wushuang couldn't help dispelling his fighting spirit, so he said something perfunctory. When he saw Taoist Longshuang, Jian Wushuang greeted him politely. Looking closely now, it really looks a bit like the old man. It's just that since he realized his mental strength, his heart seems to have died too, and he has looked down on everything he used to. Perhaps the seeds of the strong have blossomed and bear fruit, or perhaps they simply forgot. Daojun Lengshuang's voice was crisp, and he said, how about it, Get such a treasure, exchange those treasures. Ji Chaoyang on the side also said, yes, brother Wu Shuang, what treasures have you exchanged for? This time I exchanged my full worth for a space treasure. I am afraid it will not take long to break through. Dear, click in, give a good comment, the higher the score, the faster the update. It is said that the new full marks are found at the end of the beautiful wife. The new revision and upgrade address of the mobile station, data and bookmarks are synchronized with the computer station, and fresh reading without ad. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.